Let's bring in Minority Leader in the United States Senate, Chuck Schumer. Chuck, I got a question for you, my man, because I'm a simple man. I'm a dumb country lawyer. I don't really understand this Constitution thing. Of course, you know, we Republicans all carry around that little Constitution in our pocket, and then at times we'll pull it out like we're pulling out a shield against left-wing autocracy. But in that little Constitution that every Republican and I always carried around in our coat pockets, it said that Article 1 powers were the power to tax and spend. That means that Congress can do what Donald Trump is claiming to do, not Donald Trump. So where does Donald Trump get the authority to do any of that stuff?
Well, he just makes things up. Donald Trump is the fables president. He just makes things up as they go. And what you saw Kudlow say, which would be laughable if it weren't so sad, $600, $400, $300, $800. He had no idea. He's ready to go on a show before the American people and had no idea what the actual executive order said. And it's a metaphor. The towering and destructive incompetence of this administration is why the coronavirus is raging here, where in many other European countries, most other Asian countries, they've gotten a handle on it. Trump has never believed things are on the level. And it has, just as you said, Joe, none of the people around him anymore believe things are on the level. If you believe things were on the level, if you spoke truth to power to the president, you're gone. And this incompetence is what's, you know, this is what's pushing many voters who voted for Trump, not the hardcore, but that say 15%, away from him. For the first time, they've seen this incompetence, which they sort of suspected, but affecting them directly. And they know it. And it started when Trump denied the crisis altogether. It's a hoax. It'll go away. Don't worry about it. When he couldn't put a testing regime together, I called on him on March 6th, that's 4 months ago, to use the DPA and set up a real testing regime. They still haven't done it, and it's one of the reasons COVID is still raging. It's why these executive orders are laughable. This unemployment insurance one, which Kudlow so mauled, is not going to be able to be put into place for a month or two, if at all. So here we're going to have through September all these people not getting the money. And the $600, you know,
that's rough.
They have no respect for the American people, you know, and that's part of the hard right philosophy. Oh, people, if they have a job, will just sit back and take the money. That is not what American workers are like. They want a job, and they want a permanent long-term job, which will give them a decent life and has some pride in work. And so they use that excuse because they don't want to pay money. Here's the most amazing thing, Joe. 20 Republican senators, some of them running for president in 2024, don't want to spend one nickel. That, I would ask them to go back into the history books and look up a word, H-O-O-V-E-R. Herbert Hoover, after the crash, said, don't spend any money, and we had the Great Depression. If we were to listen to them, if Trump, and by the way, Meadows, in our negotiations, seems to have that philosophy as well. And not Mnuchin, but Meadows. And if they could persist in doing this, things are going to get much worse. So we want to come up with a strong plan. The Heroes Bill was not a wish list. We studied the needs of how to get enough money to open up schools safely, of how to do testing, of what the state and local governments needed, as to how we run the post office, how we have elections, how we feed the hungry, how we prevent people from being evicted. And we came up with a strong plan, but we even were willing, because we so much want to get this done, we said to the president, to the president's negotiators last week, we'll meet you in the middle. Right. We'll cut $1 trillion, you raise $1 trillion. You know what they said? Absolutely not. I said to them, you mean it's your way or the highway? And they said, yep. Well, their proposal will not deal adequately with testing, will not deal adequately with opening schools safely, will not deal adequately with the people being evicted from their homes, will not deal adequately with unemployment insurance, will not deal adequately with state and local needs. It'll be a disaster. And so I hope saner voices in the Republican Party will prevail and say, sit down with Pelosi, sit down with Schumer, and meet them in the middle, for God's sakes. That's what we're willing to do. We've said it.
You know,
and we're waiting for them to come back and say yes.
You had talked about the president surrounding himself with yes men, people that wouldn't cross him. I just got to say, as a sidebar here, the most remarkable example of that for me recently has been the fact that the intelligence community for quite some time knows that Vladimir Putin has put bounties on the heads of young American troops. In March, inside the White House, they were desperately getting the president to do something, but they were afraid to brief him on it because they knew it would make him angry. So what is the next step? What is the next step? Let's go from the relief bill. Hold on one second, Senator, and then you can talk about that, and let's get other people in as well. But first, we've talked about the relief bill. I just got to talk about something that a lot of people are concerned about, and that is the Friday night massacre at the United States Post Office. That's the president seemingly intent on wreaking havoc on that institution to slow down packaging and to possibly impact the election and how many votes are able to be counted. Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.